$47,000 is a shitload of money, really, just for a boat, you know, and it's only 4.6 meters. It ain't that big. I actually contacted a couple of boat dealers in southeast Queensland to find out, get a price on a boat motor trailer package. And I heard back from one of them. I wasn't going to go back and chase the others, you know. They choose not to ring back, well, that's their problem. So I got quoted for a 469. I think it was a Stacer, about just over 47,000. So sort of sadly, I actually thought that wasn't too bad of a price, but that goes to show you, you know, how quickly we get used to these new prices, because really at the end of the day, look, this price included a 75 horsepower engine, 4-stroke, I think it was a Yamaha, and an aluminium, you know, a tailwater aluminium trailer. So $47,000 is sort of going, oh yeah, but $47,000 is a shitload of money, really, just for a boat, you know, and it's only 4.6 meters. It ain't that big. Now, I do want to continue that discussion about boats, you know, in you know, like what happened to make those prices of boats skyrocket. Prices are a reflection of what someone wants for what is available, basically, supply and demand. Okay, so now there's also another thing, and that is the power of the supplier to be able to bring something to the market and then actually slowly, by stealth, really, try and set a price. Now, in the case of boats, look, 14-foot boats now are not exactly the same 14-foot boats that they were 30 years ago, okay? These days, they are beamier, they come with a lot more features, they are probably a lot safer than the old ones used to be. And similarly, particularly the larger boats, you know, a 6-meter boat 30 years ago that you could, you know, still buy, you know, for probably about, you know, 35 or 40 grand, and now is worth 140. Yeah, they have a lot of different features for sure, you know, and they are a lot safer, and the quality materials that they're made of are probably better. I don't know if they're as durable, but they are probably better. Ever since I started fishing and becoming acquainted with boats back in 1981, Quintrex, you know, they were a famous brand of boat, you know, because they were regarded as one of the best aluminium tinnies that you could buy. I mean, back then, you know, there was also, well, there was de Havilland. I used to have a little de Havilland tinny, 50-foot tinny. It was a great little boat. And of course, there was Stessel. But let's just stick with Quintrex. Quintrex, where are they actually made? Well, they're actually still made in Australia, in the Gold Coast, where they've got this huge manufacturing plant, apparently. And Quintrex is a company, is an Australian company that's owned by a company called Tandwater. I'm sure some of you have heard that name before. And Tandwater also owns the Stacer brand name, as well as Savage, the aluminium version of Savage boats, and also yellowfin boats. Now, it is worth noting, you know, that all of Tandwater's products are considered to be of very, very good quality, you know, and certainly when you look at, you know, the Quintrex range of boats these days, you know, they're a quality made vessel, made for the mass market. So who Tandwater. Well, Tandwater is an Australian company, okay. And Tandwater are the largest supplier of recreational aluminium water craft in the Southern Hemisphere, okay, which includes Australia. And that makes them a market leader. And that has implications for a number of things. Number one, they are able to supply the largest quantity of boats, but they are also able to somehow or another, because they are a market leader, influence the price of the product that they actually bring to market. So Tandwater and its various brand names, Quintrex, Stacer, Savage, including Yellowfin, are able to determine to a large degree at what sort of price they will bring their product to the market. So they're not price followers, these are price setters. So Tandwater was bought out by a company called BRP. And BRP, the BRP Marine Group, are a very large Canadian company, I believe. A turnover something like $2.5 billion worth in sales in a year. So they are. You would consider them to be quite an important company. In 2019, Tandwater were bought out. Well, 80% of the Tandwater company got bought by a company called BRP, Bombardier Recreational Products. They're a Canadian company, they're a very large company. This company sells products like Skidoo, Lynx snowmobiles, Sea-Doo, watercraft, and a number of other products as well. In fact, I do believe they had some sort of interest in the manufacture of Evinrude propulsion systems, i.e. outboards, and I have also since learned, doing a bit of research and a bit of Googling, that as we all know, Evinrude doesn't exist anymore, so they basically wiped that product from their manufacturing. BRP are a Canadian company, and their turnover, annual turnover, is something like $2.5 billion. So we're talking about some serious coin, and and a little bit of clout, in the world where $2.5 billion in turnover is probably not considered to be enormous, but still substantial. And certainly when we start talking about the humble old Quintrex boat, and then Tandwater, and then BRP, we can soon see that there's a level, there's like a food chain, right, that has to be followed, because there's a lot of people, a lot of little fish nibbling off this food chain. That price that you buy that Quintrex for, there are a number of processes, right, to get to that price. Well, the first one is, of course, the cost of actually physically building a boat, and then that boat has to leave the factory, has to have some sort of profit margin or wholesale price before it goes to the next stage, and that is to the Quintrex boat dealer. And the Quintrex boat dealer then, in their turn, they've got their overheads, in terms of marketing and advertising costs, etc., etc. Quintrex as a company would also have marketing costs, because they advertise, well, we know where they advertise. You go and buy a Fishing World magazine, and these days it's just absolutely loaded with ads, and some of them are for Quintrex boats, full page color ads. We go to Facebook, Google, YouTube, you will come across a Quintrex ad at some point. They have to be paid for it. Incidentally, the prices of the recreational boats, and and let's stay with Quintrex. We know really they started rising substantially post 2020-21, when the pandemic started, so-called petering out a bit, and we have already established that Quintrex is a substantial market leader. Okay, so their clout in the market means that they are able to set prices. So every time they produce a new boat, and let's face it, we live in an era where we're always looking for something new. Every time you crack a magazine, which there's not a lot of anymore, but every time you open YouTube, every time you open Google, every time you open Facebook, we are swamped with ads, and there's always pushing for, this is the brand new 4.9 or the 490 Renegade. Get out there and check it out. It's got a new center console. It comes with all these bits and pieces, and a 150 Yamaha 4-stroke for the wonderful boat motor trailer package of I don't know, probably something like 75 or 80 grand. But the point is that these are the products that are being pushed on us all the time, and it's in this way that these companies can actually keep setting that price, and you and I know that those prices are just nudging higher and higher and higher. And whenever you prices for new goods go up, the prices for second-hand goods follow, because that is the way the market goes. Unless, of course, your second-hand boat's so fucking old and it's got leaks in it, and it's got a shitty old, smoky old 2-stroke, Johnson motor or Evinrude that no one wants, and then of course, your boat's going to sit out in your front yard and no one is going to want to buy it. So when the dealer sells a Quintrex boat, he's got to factor in all these selling costs, and then the overheads, of the actual physical retail outlet, the staff that work there, that do the admin. It goes on and on and on and on, right? So that's really at the micro level. But at the macro level, answerable to Tandwater. Okay, even though Tandwater is the overall management system for Quintrex and some of those other brand names, Tandwater then in its turn, because it's owned 80% by BRP, this Canadian corporation that turns over $2.5 billion a year, and has share, is active on the share market and all that, and is therefore actually accountable to their shareholders, who in turn expect dividends, which are payouts, on an annual basis or quarterly basis, whichever arrangement they have, for the profits that BRP has made over a period of time. So that food chain is pretty big. So these prices started rising more or less, I suppose you could say, sort of from 2019 onwards, which was about the time that Tandwater was bought out 80% by BRP. So maybe the food chain, because of the expansion of the food chain, and suddenly there's a lot more mouths to feed. Look, I don't know. That's just I guess an educated guess. I don't know about that. But certainly prices went up because there was a shortage of materials. There was a shortage of shipping of materials, raw product like aluminium, aluminium sheet, blah blah blah. And I can't help but feel, in terms of in relation to the boating industry, there's a big demand for boats, because people like to get out there on the water. We have a huge immigration problem really in Australia. There's that many people that have been encouraged by this government in Canberra to come to Australia, come and pay more tax, come and spend all your money, but in the meantime let's just put pressure on everything around, so don't even get me started on housing, because that is not what this channel is about, so we'll just stick with the boating thing. Anyway, cut a long story short, when prices go up, they don't normally go down. You know, you will certainly find some specials. You know, when sellers try to get rid of of stock that they want to replace with new product. That is just how the world turns. Okay, for whatever it's worth, I hope I gave you a slight bit of insight. You probably already knew all this shit anyway. Thanks for watching. Catch ya. Bye.